This is the final sesh for AQA A-Level Paper 1. In this video, we're going to go through multiple choice questions, calculation questions and formula, final tips for 9 markers, final tips for 25 markers, exam strategy ideas, and those all-important cold topics. Multiple choice questions. So you open the paper, you'll see 15 multiple choice questions. It will be choose 1 from 4. There's likely to be distractors in there that look like they might be the right answer. It's you knowing your concepts well, so you can eliminate those incorrect answers and find that one truly great answer that's there. Now, if you can always get it down to a 50-50, that will always help if you're struggling with the options available. Make sure you always put an answer down, of course. If you're not sure, still go for it. It gives you a 25% chance. If you want to practice those questions, then you've got Year 1 and Year 2 multiple choice question practice videos there done last week. After you've done those multiple choice questions, you'll move on to section B, where you'll have probably 2 4-marker calculation questions. You need to know your formulas very well, and we'll get to that in a moment. But it's good to practice some questions there. So you've got 22 questions in the numeracy practice playlist. You'll find that there under AQA A-Level, exam techniques, exam tips, numeracy practice, model answers. Those formulas for AQA A-Level business, they're all in shorts, and I've put them in that playlist there, and you'll see that at the top of BizCon Sesh in the days leading up to paper 1. Final tips for 9 markers. So after you've done those calculation questions, you will probably have 3 9 markers based on historical papers. 3 9 markers. Analyse why, analyse how, analyse the impact of a concept, and that's of course the question. Just things to watch out for. Some of those questions might have a line above the question. And if there is a line above the question, so the question being analyse why, how, or impact, but if there is a line above that question, watch out for that. It might give you a context to focus on. Be careful of that. You'll likely only have it once if it happens, but you should watch out for it. And finally, if it gives you a data or a table, you've got to use it. Refer to it. If you can do some data manipulation, like a percentage change to make yourself look that extra bit better, then do that. Final tips for 25 markers. Well, in section C, it will be choose 1 from 2 of those 25 markers, and then you make the same choice again in section D. Choose 1 from 2. I would check out the 25 marker angles video there for any potential angles for 25 markers that could come up. Obviously, revise everything. Now, some important tips for 25 markers. I've got 3 big tips to think about. So it's encouraged for these 25 markers for you to introduce your own application or real life examples to contextualize your answer, and that will help you get into those top levels. But avoid just saying specific facts. Try to be analytical of why that application, that real world example that you've got, why it helps answer the question. That's tip 1. Tip 2, if the 25 marker is evaluate how ABC, for example, a specific functional area, could achieve XYZ, for example, a business objective, ensure your answer covers both points. Now, the common issue I've seen is you tend to focus on the first part of that, the ABC, and in your analysis, you drop the second part, the XYZ. That's a common questioning strategy as well. Lots of questions in the last few years have been laid out like that, so beware of that strategy. Third tip, the final tip here, is if the question is specific to one functional area, we're talking operations, finance, HRM, then make sure you tailor your analysis to that functional area. You might want to think about the functional objectives and being aware of the functional objectives of each functional area. For example, if it's operations, you want to be talking about costs, quality, flexibility, it could be dependability, as opposed to if you're talking about other functional areas, maybe it's marketing, you'd want to talk about brand or sales value. The next thing to think about is exam strategy. So in previous years, it seems that section D essays have tended to score lower than section C essays in exams. So perhaps that's because students tend to answer the paper sequentially, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. Therefore, is there a time issue when you get to section D and less time is being given to those section D essays, which are worth a quarter of the marks of the paper? So it might be worth considering the order you will be doing the paper in. And I think it's best to make a plan of the order you will tackle the paper in before you enter the exam hall. A suggested structure you could do, an example, you don't have to do it, it's just an idea to think about, and I'd certainly think about it before you enter the exam hall, is perhaps split those 25 markers with the 15 multiple choice questions. I think that gives you an advantage twofold. One is if you do firstly a 25 marker, then the 15 multiple choice questions, and then another 25 marker, well, it gives your hand a rest between those two 25 markers, but also it ensures you get those 25 markers in before you're at the business end of the paper, excuse the pun, and maybe leave those 3 markers to the end. But it's for you to think about, and I think exam strategy is definitely important, and it could give you those marginal gains that will help you. So just think about that and give it that weight to section D essays. Let's think about these cold topics. So there's a big list of cold topics, and what I mean by this is these are topics that have barely or not even featured over the last 5 years of A-level exams for AQA. So it's definitely worth paying some attention to them. Of course, revise absolutely everything, but just giving some special attention to these will help. And to make your life a lot easier, I've created a cold topics playlist, and I'm going to stick that up the top in the 2023 revision playlist. So make sure you've checked out all those videos and you're sure on those concepts. Best of luck come next week. That's it. See you at the next sesh.